Well, hello and good evening, everybody. Welcome to the Talkin Kop. We're here for another full-time match reaction show. It's finished at Anfield. Liverpool 3, Southampton 0. I'm your host, Matt, joined tonight, as usual, by Kev O'Sullivan. Kev, the kids are all right.
Yeah, got through it in the end, but it wasn't all plain sailing, not by any stretch of the imagination. And yeah, they had to work hard. They had to really work hard and give a lot of credit to Southampton for the way they played and the intent that they showed in playing out from the back. You needed lungs and legs to be able to keep up with that. And I'll be honest, I was worried. With I didn't know how long they'd last or how long we'd be able to last, given like you got a lot of players there who are not used to playing in front of 60,000 people. Let alone the adrenaline of the come down from Sunday to have to get up to start tonight and to go again. My God, they did it in style. Some outrageous performances tonight in the end, but that's a rather look at times. Monumental effort though. But look, we're through to the next round, and that's all it was all about. That's all it was all about in the end. Fantastic.
Yeah, you got to keep. You can't win all four trophies if you get knocked out in the fifth round of the FA Cup. So getting through was all that matters, and it sets up quite a juicy little quarterfinal matchup at Old Trafford against Manchester United, who squeaked through at the end against Nottingham Forest. So it was a pity that match couldn't have gone to extra time. It would have been nice to have another half an hour in the legs of the Forest players, but we'll make do, and we'll deal with Saturday when we get to Saturday. But some lineup, Kev. The game finished and I came on quick. I didn't have time to write it up to put it up on the screen, but Kelleher's in goal. Regardless of a few people thinking that Adrian might get his, first and possibly.
Yeah, I don't know where the hell that came from. That was weird.
I think it's mostly just
weird.
I think it's mostly just concern over Kelleher. Like you don't want him to get injured, and then we've got Allison and Kelleher out, and we have to actually rely on Adrian because that would be.
No, I just thought it was weird. I just thought it was really weird. I never thought Kelleher was not going to play.
So, Kelleher starts in goal, and then a collection of defenders, including Bradley, Gomez, Kwanzaa, Van Dijk, and Tsimikas, and then midfielders of Elliott, McConnell, Clark, maybe Gakpo, and Lewis Kumas thrown in there as well. And it was a real, okay, I presumed, and I wrote it down, that Connor Bradley would play right wing, Harvey Elliott would play the right side of midfield, and Joe Gomez would play right back, and everybody else would kind of play where you would expect them to play. But within about 2 minutes, it was like, is Joe Gomez playing number 6 for Liverpool?
I spotted it after about 10 seconds, and I was like, wow. I'll be honest, I was chatting to Chris before the game, and I looked at it and I thought, you know what? They could play a back three here. Legitimately, they could have played a back three with Virgil in between Joe Gomez and Kwanzaa and played Bradley and Costas as wingbacks, or 3-4-3, whichever way they wanted to do it. I didn't expect to see Joe Gomez in a 6. Let's be honest, I don't think anyone did.
No.
But safe to say, he does the role when he's inverting from either right back or left back. So all you're basically doing is asking him to stay there, and not run back to whatever fullback position off when he's off the ball. So, I mean, look, I don't think he's probably ever played there before, and I doubt it's an experiment that too many people are going to want to revisit again.
Well, that's exactly what Chris Golding says. So may we never see Gomez in midfield for a while. For a while, he says, not ever.
It was needs must. This tonight was all about needs must, and backs to the wall. There's players tonight that ideally you wouldn't want playing 90 minutes, but they had to suck it up and they had to play 90 minutes. Connor Bradley is the first. Connor Bradley and Gerard Kwanzaa is probably the first time that they've played a full 90 in a good while. Not in front, away from the underage level. It's been a long time, I'd say, since they've both played a full 90. And the same can be said for Joe Gomez. He hasn't played a full 90, I'd say, since Robertson and Costas came back from injury. Yeah. It was was okay. Settle into the game type. Joe's in the 6, fine. McConnell and Clark playing either side of him, and just see how it went. That's how I looked at it. I thought, we'll see how it goes. See what happens. Yeah. And within a few minutes, you start to see their threats and them on the ball. I was like, I haven't watched Southampton since they got relegated, and the way they knock the ball about and the triangles they make around the back and the way they play out and look to get out onto the wings and look to get Sulemina one-on-one early. It was really good to watch. You know, if you're a neutral tonight watching that, you'd have been seriously impressed. You know, you'd have been seriously impressed.
I've caught a couple of Southampton games just because the championship looks like it's going to have a real exciting end to the season. And I watched, who did Southampton play? I think Leeds maybe a couple of weeks ago. And I watched that game and I was watching it just going like, both of these teams deserve to be in the Premier League. Like the quality of the top 3 teams in the championship in Leicester, Leeds, and Southampton, as it stands, I believe currently, is all 3 of those teams are markedly better than Sheffield United and Burnley and probably Luton, Nottingham Forest, and Everton. And for a lot of the season, Crystal Palace as well, too. But out of the lineup, Kev, I have to say I was shocked that Harvey Elliott started. I was shocked. He played, I believe, the full 90 against Luton midweek. He played the full 120 minutes on Sunday, and he gets the vast majority of the game again today. Boy, to be young again, Kev. Like, boy to have the recovery ability of a 20-year-old professional athlete to be able to just get up and go again. Because in this day and age, that's pretty rare. Yeah,
it is impressive. You know, credit where it's due, because you got to tip your hat up to him. Because what can you say? It's monumental what they did tonight. It's ridiculous what they did. It really is. I mean, got through, you know, the first half was end to end. Both sides could have scored. We took our chance. They had arguably the better chances throughout the first half. And it wasn't from a lack of effort from our part. It was, you had Harvey Elliott, Gakpo and Kumas with McConnell and Clark trying to press them and suffocate them and them playing out and getting, you know, man for man then against our back 4. And that's the way the whole first half played out. And it would have been so much different if we had a normal side out. Yeah. Then the press is much more organized and they read it much better. That's not a slight on any of the guys who played tonight, but some of the more senior players read the press really well. And you'd have probably created much better opportunities against Southampton with our normal 11. But the front 3 and the other 2 midfielders, excluding Gomez in the first half, worked their socks off. You know, and that's what was worrying me. It was really worrying me, especially with Harvey Elliott. With the amount of football he's played recently, I thought the amount of effort they're putting in to press and counter press here, and they're winning the ball back in good areas and they're not getting rewarded for it. It was unbelievable to see him. And the longer the half went on, the more organized it became, the better we got at it. The first 20 minutes, they were finding gaps and being able to play through it. And we were really having to, it was edge of the seat, fly by the seat of your pants defending at times. But the longer it went on, the better they got. And it was something to see. It really was. I was so impressed. Of all the games we've got coming up and we've played recently, tonight was the one that worried me most. I said that to you the other day when we were chatting. Tonight was the game that worried me most because I looked at who was going to probably be available and who would have to be rested. And I thought, if there's a potential banana skin, it's this one. And the way we've come through it tonight, unbelievable. Blown away.
Yeah. I mean, you talk about good work, Kev. And I mean, if we're going to talk about good work, I would definitely direct everybody towards the link to our 2 charity partners, because the 2 charities that we're working with this year in terms of fan supporting food banks out of Liverpool and the Lighthouse Cafe in Dublin are doing even better work than our kids have done in the last couple of games for us. So please, if you can, go to the link, donate to the GoFundMe. We're trying to raise 10,000 euros for these 2 fantastic organizations. Share the link amongst your social media accounts. Gav keeps on saying it. If everybody that listens to these shows, both live and after the fact, just donates €1 into it, boom, we've hit our target. We're done, and we can stop harping on about it. We won't, but we could. We won't. And of course, the other charity you'll find in the description for the show, whether it's on YouTube or podcast, is for Phil Casey of this channel, who is doing 5 endurance bicycle, swim, running races, raising money for another organization that does fantastic work in the Laura Lynn Hospice out of Dublin, which is Ireland's only children's hospice. So if you know, and hopefully you never need their services. So that's why Phil's trying to raise $5,000 for them. Please help us hit these targets for our charities, because this is what the channel does and is all about. And also, I would highly encourage everybody to become a member of the channel if you can, because we do, in fact, have another episode of The Greatest coming up tomorrow evening. And the series so far has been absolutely fantastic. But you said, Kev, that Southampton had the better chances. I mean, 5th minute, Kamaldeen Sulemana hits the post. 30 seconds later, yeah, he should. 30 seconds later, Kelleher makes a big save. Van Dijk, he's probably asking a little bit too much of McConnell with the pass that he plays for him. He loses the ball. Sekou Mara has a good chance. Kelleher, another good save, low down to his right, gets it there. Makes another save a few minutes later. It ended up being offside, but it was another good save from Quevin Kelleher, who, boy, he's finding form at just the right time, isn't he, Kev? I mean, he's from down in your neck of the woods, and
yeah,
when we need him.
Yeah, he's outstanding. He makes really good saves. There was one in the second half in the first half, I think, towards the end of the half, where he was already on the ground, and all Sulemana had to do was lift it. I think that was more luck than judgment, because he went down to try to save the first shot. There was a block on it, and it went out to Sulemana, and he went along the ground instead of going over the top. That was more luck than judgment. Everything else, he got absolutely spot on. But the one thing that I'm impressed with Quevin Kelleher more than anything else is his distribution. His calmness on the ball. He is the complete modern keeper. He is the spare man at the back. You have absolutely no qualms about passing the ball, giving it to him, even when he's potentially being marked. You trust him to make the right decisions, and he can go off left foot or right foot. I thought that part of his game tonight was outstanding. It was absolutely brilliant.
Is he left-footed? It's actually hard to
tell.
No,
he's right-footed. No, he's right-footed. He is right-footed.
He passes the ball with so much confidence with his left foot. Like, it's really good. And he had one lovely, I don't know if you'd call it a Cruyff turn. I don't know exactly what the bar is for calling something a Cruyff turn late in the game that was just like, attaboy. He's completely brimming with confidence. I mean, 13 minutes, Southampton have a counter, and I put this down to, I would say the only downside I took out of this game was I did a lot of swearing at Kostas Tsimikas on the TV. I felt that when the ball came to him and we were trying to attack, he was too slow with it. He was slowing the ball down. And in the 13th minute, he tried to press for a ball that he was never going to get and left us so wide open at the back. And like you said, we really rode our luck. 15 minutes, we had our obligatory, this is the chance for Joe Gomez. He gets into a great opportunity playing in the 6, tons of space, ball at his feet, and it is one of the worst shots he will ever take. And I'm now of the opinion that it's literally never going to happen. He's never, ever going to score for Liverpool. And I'm okay with that, because we found other guys that can come in and score for us. But it was around about 25 minutes, Kev, that I felt like we had ridden the storm and we started to come into the game.
Yeah, when that was it. It took that long for us to like get a grip with what they were doing and how they were trying to do it. And look, they're in these are a side that are used to winning, and it doesn't matter what division you're in or what league you're in. If you're a side that's used to going out and playing the way you play and getting results with the way you play, that breeds confidence. And they played like a confident side, and you look at the players they played tonight. Some of them experienced. A few names that you'll have known. Bednarek and Stevens have been around for a while. Aribo was at Rangers for a while. Suleiman I knew for a good while. I knew him before he went to Southampton. Highly rated, rapid as you like. He is proper quick. And they're not, and a couple of kids as well that came out of Man City's academy that Southampton decided to take a punt on, pay decent money to develop, and that's kind of like their Moneyball players. They want to develop them to sell them on, and to do that, you have to play a certain way of a certain type of football. And we were playing with an 11 that I guarantee you, 6 weeks ago, would never have thought would have played a game together outside of a run-of-the-mill training session. And you're trying to get to grips with a side who are third in the championship, scoring goals for fun, and confident as the day is long. And it took us 20-odd minutes to get to grips with it. Once we got to grips with it, and we started keeping possession a bit more, we put our foot in the ball a bit more, and we started to read their press a little bit better. But it wasn't really until half-time and the second half when we came into our own. And then they started to get tired. And then the more mistakes started creeping into their game, and we started being more aggressive. And that's only down to the management and the players, because the players had to believe that they could keep going. And that's the other side that would make you so impressed and so proud of tonight's performance. The fact that they had the legs and the lungs to keep going, because that's not easy. Chasing and harrying a side like that constantly, knowing that odds are you might not get it, and just go back and do it again and again and again and again, because that's what you're expected to do. It's not easy.
It was one of my halftime notes that I was really concerned that we were going to get tired out from chasing them around, because every time they got the ball at the back, like, I don't know if they went long once when they restarted from a goal kick. Like, they were so happy to pull us in, and we'd end up with 5, 6, 7 players, pushing up and being within 30 yards of their goal. And it was the threat of one ball over the top and they could break. And that's kind of what we saw in the first, 20 minutes, half an hour sort of thing. And there were some moments of great defending. I mean, 22 minutes, Kwanzaa does fantastically. 36 minutes, Southampton have an odd man break. I think it was 4v3, maybe 3v2. Virgil van Dijk does absolutely excellently. 40th minute, Kwanzaa, again, fantastically he does. And then we get the breakthrough. The son of a former footballer, which we ended up, 3 of them on the pitch at some point tonight. Yeah. Lewis Kumas. Yeah, I'm pretty sure. Yeah, Lewis. I had to write his first name down because I couldn't have told you what it was before the game started. I mean,
John, this game has really got a habit of fucking aging you as someone who's watched football, because I watched all their dads play and I watched some of their dads make debuts. It's like it's mad. But he was brave when he got on the ball, chopped in, took a touch. Shawnee's in the comments there. Shades of Lallana with Kumas, and he means it in the best possible way. Yeah, it was. He took the extra touch to create the angle. I think that was going in irrespective of the deflection, because the keeper had already sold himself. The keeper had already gone, and he wasn't getting back. So the deflection helped, obviously, and then you pump. Because, to be honest, I looked at the stats at halftime. Both sides had 6 efforts on goal, or 6 efforts and 2 efforts each on goal. But it just felt like they had the better chances. Some of their misses that they had in the first half, they shouldn't have been missing. And we were scattering for it. We were really scratching. We had 2 efforts on target in the first half, and the second one was the goal. And you needed that bit of confidence going into halftime, because you knew there was going to be a bit of a regroup, and Linders and the rest of the coaches will get into the lads and show them examples of where they're playing and the patterns of play, how they're playing out, and drilled into them where to press and when. And, you're going in with a 1-0 lead, and it's like, okay, whatever chance Southampton have of getting 1 back, they're not scoring 2. So, you're going in 1-0 up at halftime, arguably against the run of play, but you take it and you reset and you regroup. Were you surprised with the change?
No. It felt like it was going to be like, somebody said, like, when halftime broke, somebody threw into the Telegram that it looked like Ibu was coming on and didn't say who for. And so it was like, well, presumably Gomez, because he was the most fish out of water. And then you start doing kind of the lineup in your head going like, well, that has to be 3 at the back. Like, if you're playing with Kwanzaa, Kanate, and Virgil on the pitch at the same time, it has to be 3 at the back. And then it was like, oh, it's obviously a 45-45. Like, it just has to be a 45-45 between the two. I mean, you say that we went into the half 1-0. It should have been 2-0, Kev. It should have been 2-0. Like, first off, just on the goal, Bobby Clark does very well. The ball that he plays to Kumas before he's like, I mean, it's an assist. I'm guessing that would be Bobby Clark's first assist for Liverpool. That's a great piece of vision right there. That little reverse ball to get him through, cuts it in there. But then pretty much immediately after the restart, Cody Gakpo didn't have the best night. I'd imagine he was a bit leggy after his exertions on Sunday as well, and surrounded by players that he's probably never met before. Kumas does extremely well. I mean, McConnell does well to win the ball back from Southampton. Kumas gets the ball. He slots Gakpo in, and Gakpo pulls the ball wide. But it was that goal right before halftime was all that I wanted, with especially after the first half an hour where we seemed to take their best shot, feel how the game was going to play itself out and go, okay, you guys are going to play your game that you're playing in the championship. That's fine. This is how we're going to counter that. Doesn't look like you're going to be able to hurt us that bad. But if we can get that goal before halftime, that changes everything, because then all their plans are thrown out the window. So, no, the change at halftime, once I realized that obviously it had to be Van Dijk he was coming on for, that made perfect sense. And where was that comment? Shit, where did it go? Oh, the chat is lively tonight. Everybody's, there it is, from Kieran B. He says, Kamaldeen Sulemana was kind of roasting us in the first half, and Kanate sorted him out. And did he ever? Ibu Kanate. I mean, damn. The boy has got size. He's got pace. He's got presence. That was a great 45 minutes from Ibu Kanate.
Yeah. Arsenal fans talk about Saliba, and Saliba is this, that, and the other. Saliba and Kanate are the future of French football. That's the future centre-back pairing for France for the foreseeable. They're hands down the two best young centre-backs in the league. Kanate has been outstanding these last few games. And tonight, he was ridiculously good and brave and confident and aggressive. Front foot, getting out in front of players, reading the pass into the forwards before it came and being brave enough to go, trusting Kwanzaa to back him up. He's really, I mean, I knew he was good. Anyone who watched him play for Leipzig knew that he was a good player. That he was easily the best centre back that they had. And at the time, it was him or Upamecano were the two. To me personally, I thought Klosterman's another one. He's there at the time. He's really good as well back then. But Kanate just looked brilliant because he was playing in a system there where he was comfortable playing out as a right back or right centre back in a 3. And he looked so comfortable playing in that position. So the way we've adapted, he's comfortable playing that. Yeah, he's got more ground to cover, but he's more than capable of doing it because of his sheer physicality. He's an absolute monster and deceivingly quick over the ground with big, long legs. They just chew the ground up. And if you're a defender, you're not getting away from it. Sulemana, apparently, what they were saying in the commentary, had recorded the fastest sprint speed in the World Cup, 35.7 miles per hour.
Wow.
And he never got away from Ibu. And he couldn't. And he tried a few times, and he just couldn't. And the fact then that you had Gerald Kwanzaa going from right centre-back to left centre-back, and he didn't skip a beat. He was just ridiculously good.
I'm sorry. Red Steve says, "Oopa me hoop." Ibu walks all over him. That's
But at the time, I'm telling you, the discussion was real.
Yeah.
At the time, the discussion was real because Upamecano, before he went to Bayern Munich, didn't have the frailties exposed in his game, and we're seeing why now. because he was protected by Klosterman and Ibu Kanate.
And Ibu Kanate, yeah, that helps. I mean, our boy McGlinchey here, he says Kanate was brilliant when he came on. He stopped Mara, I think, from having a tap in, and that's the first note I have in the second half. I put it down as a great save to Kelleher, but he's mostly just in the way. But the touch that Kanate gets on it, because Southampton break down their right-hand side. It's a good cross put in. Again, I feel that Tsimikas was a bit on the defensive end of things there. Ibu Kanate, that touch is so important because that's just a buried tap in. Now, maybe it's not, because we saw on the weekend that Quivien Kelleher can make that save from that point blank range with a ton of power on it. So maybe it wouldn't have been a goal, but a huge touch from Ibu Kanate. Kelleher makes the save at the near post, and it's good. And yeah, you said like the ability of Jarrell Kwanzaa to just be like, it's okay, Ibu, don't worry, I'll switch positions. I'm 20. It's my first season playing senior.
He's 21
football.
now.
Is he? Okay. Well, never mind.
He's
no more excuses.
He's 21 recently.
It's just brilliant, man. This has been such a fun 8 days of being a Liverpool fan and getting to do post-match reactions between the Luton match, and you get that reaction that we needed for that big win in the league, where Virgil van Dijk says, follow my example here, boys. We get to win a cup on Sunday, and I get to get absolutely schmammered on YouTube with you. And then you come into this game and you're like Klopp said, I don't even know who's going to be able to play. And you look at the team that we throw out there, and they all play like Liverpool players. They know their jobs. They play in the same manner. They give 100% effort. Everybody seems to know what they're doing. Maybe not when we get on to talking about Trainioni towards the end. I couldn't help but noticing that Alexis Mac Allister was doing a fair amount of talking him through that game. But that's what experience is there for. But I mean, I don't know if even at this point of the season, you consider Kwanzaa and Connor Bradley to be part of the kids anymore. They're just first team players.
Yeah, they're first team players. And at the end of the day, I think the start of the season, I looked at both and I thought, okay, Kwanzaa's got to come in. He's going to play. He'll get some Europa League games. You get the early rounds of the League Cup, and they'll reassess it in January, and maybe he'll go out on loan for the second half of the season. And then Joel Matip gets that season-ending injury, and it's like, okay, now you're in it now. There's 3 centre-backs plus Joe Gomez, and you're thinking, okay, those 4 have to see us through, because the other option was, especially when the Matip injury happened, a lot of talk, okay, who we might have to dip into the transfer market in January. Yeah. The same argument with Connor Bradley. Connor Bradley can cover Trent in the cup games in the early rounds of the Europa League. Then he picks up a knock. He gets injured. And he comes back and he's thrust into it. And it's like, there's nowhere else to go. There's no transfer market open. There's injury. There's bodies falling left, right, and center. And it was literally, for the two of them, it was sink or swim. And they've both took to it like ducks to water. They're flying. And you can't look at it at either of them now any other way than they are first team squad players available to come in and start when needed. And I don't worry when either of them are starting games. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'd worry if Kwanzaa was starting against Man City and it was Haaland. But other than that, I wouldn't worry about him playing against anyone. And his ability to read the games, he's just getting better and better and better. Connor Bradley, same. He's just getting better and better and better. Look, we're not at the stage where you're looking at it and say, Connor Bradley, okay, Trent, sit down. Trent's got to struggle to get back in the side. He's not.
No.
All right, let's not get ahead of ourselves. There's still a lot to his game that he's going to have to improve on. But all the signs are there. He's improving at a rate of knots. And the more he plays, the better he gets.
And what we're not having to do, Kev, is do shows after disappointing draws or defeats going, we're really missing Trent, and we're really missing Joel Matip, and we're really missing Sabasai and Salah, and if I start listing the names of all of our injured players off, we're going to be here for another hour and 45 minutes again. Red Steve back in again. He says, the kids have been great, but I'm not against some of the senior players showing up for work now. And I mean, that'll be the big question coming into Saturday. I mean, we're going into the second half. I mean, 52nd minute, we got a good counter. Harvey Elliott plays a great pass. Bobby Clark, who was, I think, quite under the radar, very good today.
Yeah,
it struck me as one of those kind of like Ginny Wijnaldum, Curtis Jones type midfield games where they didn't do anything spectacular that really made you go like, holy shit, look at Bobby Clark. But the way he played, the tenacity of just getting in, very reminiscent to how he played on Sunday. It was another chance that Cody Gakpo pulled a little bit wide. Ibu Konate then does fantastically against Kamaldeen Sulemana again. Then the Southampton have to ring the changes. Adam Armstrong comes on, who's their top scorer, comes on for Sulemana, who could not finish for the life of him. Kyle Walker-Peters comes on for somebody named Bree, who is playing right back. And I don't know if Walker-Peters went off injured before the end of the game. On my feed, they were talking like he had picked up an injury there. Then we make our changes. Mac Allister comes on for McConnell. And yes, somebody said it. Again, you guys are killing it with the comments tonight, and they're flying right by me. But somebody's comm said Liverpool is making a change up top to bring some more experience on when we took Lewis Kumas off and brought Jayden Danns onto the pitch, which I mean is technically correct. It is technically correct because I did not mention it off the start. That was Lewis Kumas's very first minutes for Liverpool Football Club. So I mean, take debut a bow, goal. Son. A proper debut goal, like. As the Aussies would say, on debut, brilliant. You couldn't ask for. I mean, maybe if the goal was going into the Kop, so he scored into the Annie Road end because it was in the first half. That's about it.
Okay, aged 18 years, 162 days. Lewis Kumas is the fourth youngest player ever to score on his senior debut. The ones he's ahead who are younger than him: Michael Owen, Jordan Rossiter, Jimmy Melia, and he's ahead of Robbie Fowler. I mean, the world is his oyster. You know, he's done it at youth level all the way through the ranks, and he's got an eye for goal. He's a silky smooth footballer. He's come on tonight, scored on his debut at Anfield in a meaningful game, not a throwaway end of season, run in where you're just ticking off the games because there's nothing left to play for. It's a fifth round of the FA Cup after we've won the League Cup, and we're trying to chase 4 trophies. It's on him, and he comes on, makes a debut, makes an impact. 62 minutes. What more do you want? It's ridiculous. It is ridiculous. It really is like.
Yeah, and McGlinchey says, even if these lads don't find a career here, they're going to get full profit off them. So that's brilliant work from Alex Inglethorpe and co for nurturing so many good youth players. And that is, especially in light of the Chelsea news, getting a regurgitation. I think it was yesterday, maybe, the rounds going about how much Chelsea need to sell off and how pressed they're going to be into selling off their homegrown players, their academy players, of which their cupboard is starting to run fairly bare. So the future for Liverpool in terms of staying on the right side of the PSR rules, the FFP rules, looks very good because not all of these players, there's no chance. I mean, if they do, my God, the dream is to have an 11 made up of your academy. I mean, that's really the dream, that all the kids, are homegrown scousers that were peeking through the fence at the training center sort of thing. And, they absolutely bleed Liverpool red. That's not going to happen. A lot of the vast majority of these players will come and they will go and they will flush out the coffers for Liverpool Football Club. And it's just pure profit for us. But I mean, you can't be upset with the way that they're playing. And I mean, to score on your debut, that's absolutely fantastic. So, I mean, Jayden Danns comes on. The game is in the balance. It's 1-0. The next goal is going to be absolutely crucial. And on the 67th minute, I mean, the jokes write themselves. I know he sounds like a French restaurant, but Shea Charles, oh my. Southampton have, I think it was their 6th corner of the match. Ibu Konate gets his head on the ball. I think he didn't feel where the header went because it came off of his head back towards our goal line. and all of our defenders looked like the ball had been headed out and it was going to be a typical Red Arrows counterattack from the opposition team's corner. And we all just kind of stopped. And the ball falls to Shea Charles, and that's a miss. Like, he's got it. Yeah, there it is. There's Red Steve. I knew somebody was going to go with the Ray Charles joke on it because he doesn't sort his feet out. But I mean, Kev, that's atrocious, that miss.
Yeah, it is. It's one of those where if he gets the right contact on it and goes back across goal, that's probably going in. And you wouldn't have said they didn't deserve it, because they were still lively. I thought we bossed the second half, but they'd made the changes. They'd brought on some experience. Kyle Walker-Peters came on. Adam Armstrong, Scottish international, came on. 2 players with Premier League experience, know what it's like, know what it takes. But it seems when we made our changes, Alexis Mac Allister, Jayden Danns, we got more control. But yeah, they were always likely, and always felt we needed a second, because at 1-0, anything can happen. And with the way they were countering, anything could happen. That was a terrible miss. He'll have nightmares about that for weeks. He will. Just no getting away from it. But at the same time, it was a let-off, and we started when Alexis come on, he changed the game. He changed the flow of the game when he came on. He's really, really good. He's a proper footballer.
And boy, don't undersell it or anything, Kev. Yes, Alexis Mac Allister is incredibly good.
No, but I think we changed shape to 4-2-3-1 then, because Harvey Elliott went wide on the right and he stayed wide. And what's his name? But Clark stayed on the left, and we just had a more even flow about it. About how we were pressing, how we were keeping possession, and we looked more stable. And then it was just a case of just get a second, just get one. And I couldn't give a monkeys who scored it. Didn't care. Cody had one of those nights. Cody had one of those nights to forget. Yeah. He had 2 or 3 where he just he looked like tonight he was carrying the weight of the world on his shoulders. That it had to be him. He was the senior guy. And he just looked like he was a guy playing with like 2 big sacks of spuds, one on each shoulder, because he just never looked right. Even when he took his shots. There was one where he was through and he absolutely smashed it and it just went wide. All he had to do was dink it. Yeah. All he had to do was dink it over the keeper like he did against Manchester United.
Was that the one where he picked the ball up and he shrugged 2 of their players off? Like, I don't know if I think there was a retroactive yellow card in that one for Smallbone, but at one point he picks the ball up about 20 yards out from our goal line and just...
Yeah, that was really late.
Yeah, just shrugs Smallbone aside and then rides off another tackle and you're like, just go and do it. Just place it into the net, and he just blasts it over. But...
yeah. But that that's not him. That tonight isn't him. It wasn't a lack of effort. He ran his socks off, ran his heart out. And the worry is he ran himself into the ground. And we don't know what we're going to need or what's available to us for Saturday. So he might have to go again. So he very well might have to. So it's like, at the end of it, he was putting in a shift right up until the end. He was leading the press all night. He never stopped. So, like, I know people get on his back. People get on his back and what have you.
No, they're on your back. Skelter Pete, understatement of the month. World Cup winning midfielder Alexis Mac Allister is really, really, really good.
Yeah, you'll very rarely, if ever, hear me use the phrase world class.
Yeah.
You'll very rarely hear me say, because I don't throw the word out lightly. I think he's a very, very good player. I don't think he's world class. I think we've got probably, you can count on one hand the amount of world class players that we have. All right. Alexis Mac Allister is not world class. Alexis Mac Allister is very, very good.
Yeah.
He's a top quality player. He's one of the best players in the Premier League, in my opinion. Bang for buck, he's been one of the signings of the season. He is not world class.
Ashley L.
Yes,
with
yes.
an educator's mindset. My wife is a teacher, and this word is key. I don't know something yet. He's not world class yet.
He might get there. He might get there. He might, and I think he probably would do. He rattled when he walked. You should have seen what he done when he ran.
Let's get into the absolute good bits, though, Kev. Let's get into the good bits. The 73rd minute, eventually, it was always going to come. And I go back, my halftime notes were Southampton looked the better team for the first 25 minutes. We eventually grew into it. They missed some chances, but we are going to create a pile more chances with Southampton playing out from the back like they are. And on the 73rd minute, Small Bone, passes the ball to absolutely nobody playing out from the back. And eventually our relentless pressing from the front of Southampton playing out from the back pays off. Harvey Elliott's there to pick the ball up. It's a gorgeous pass. Like it's the type of pass, and it's so fitting that Harvey Elliott seems to want to model his game and looks up so much to Mo Salah, because that is that little Mo Salah left-footed side pocket pass to Darwin Núñez making that run. I'm telling you, they're absolutely giving it to you. It's the best chat. It's the best chat in football podcasting. If you're not a member, please become a member, because this is the sort of silliness you get. But Harvey Elliott plays that little reverse pass in for Jayden Danns, who has arced his run perfectly, and shades of Cody Gakpo against David De Gea in the 7-0. A perfect dink. And I mean, what a week, Kev. Can you have a better week?
No, you can't, can you? I mean, at the end of it, he was unlucky not to get a goal on Sunday with that header. He just looks like he's huge. Do you know what I mean? You see him and Ibu standing together. He's got to be 6'2". He's got to be 6'2". Has to be.
Which, if he grew 10 inches in the last 8 months, he was a tiny little shit before.
Yeah, but at the end of the day, he never looks up. He never looks up to see where the keeper is. That is a proper striker's finish. You know, he watches the ball all the way, and he trusts that the keeper is coming, and the keeper is diving at his feet, and he just makes sure he gets the contact absolutely spot on. And it was a brilliant finish. Forget the fact that it's his third appearance, I think. You know, he's not even played 45 minutes of football for us yet. You know,
it's wild. It's wild.
To have the composure to not look up in that you're in front of the clock. You don't look up. You know that this is your chance. This is the one that you've been dreaming about for years. And there you go. Dink. The L1 chip. If you're playing FIFA, L1 chip. Bang.
Not to the extent of Darwin Núñez's L1 goal that he scored. I don't even remember how many games that was ago. Back when he was.
It's a beautiful finish. It's a beautiful finish, and it was really well worked. Smallbone gives the ball away. He tries to pass it back to Manning. Elliott sneaks in, nicks it, and Elliott makes the goal with the pass. He makes the decision for the striker, and that's what you get from the best number 10s, is that they make the decision for the striker. And it was just all right. Comment's gone off. He just makes the finish. He just makes the finish for the striker, and he just makes the decision for him. You know, and that was perfect, and it was more than Harvey Elliott deserved, because he was, again, lungs and legs for days. The kid just kept going and going and going. Heart of a lion.
Yeah,
brilliant performance.
I got to say this about Harvey Elliott, because you've done enough of these shows with me, and the regulars in the chat will know that I'm a very big fan of Harvey Elliott. My favorite tiny iota of post-match content from Sunday, Kev, and I don't know if you saw it, but when the team is lined up facing the fans in Wembley singing You'll Never Walk Alone, Harvey Elliott cannot help himself to break the line and stand with his scarf above his head. He is so much a fucking fan of this team. Like, Harvey Elliott is as big a fan as Liverpool Football Club as anybody that's in this chat. Anybody. That kid, he fucking loves Liverpool. And I am so happy for him that he gets to play for a team that undoubtedly means so much to him. So much to him. And he's really starting to find his feet, because it's not long after that he's picking the ball up and he's just dancing through the middle of the park. He sets Alexis Mac Allister up for a shot, blazes it over the top of the bar. And then the moment that I was hoping we were going to get, regardless of the outcome, Kev, the 78th minute, Liverpool set some records. I'm presuming it's 2 records. Obviously, one record gets set in the youngest player to ever play for Liverpool in the FA Cup, Trainioni. I'm also presuming that it's the highest squad number that Liverpool's ever fielded, because I can't think of a 99.
I'd say if you added up all the squad numbers of tonight, of who finished that game, I'd say, you'd be. Was there anyone on the pitch that finished the game that had a single digit number on their shirt? Ibu,
Ibu. That's
nobody else.
Did Gomez finish the game?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah, okay. So Gomez and Ibu. But
Gomez
I think just as an individual player, because Trainioni comes onto the pitch wearing number 98. I can't imagine that
16 years of age.
And I mean, within a minute of being on the pitch, he's robbing a Southampton player and setting up a chance for us. Like, I would say that Mac Allister was helping him along, guiding him through the game, but he did not look overawed. He looks like he's built out of toothpicks. You know, he could definitely put maybe 10, 15 pounds of muscle onto him, but just another kid off of the production line comes up. Shit. Ashley L is always here to ruin it. Tom Hill played wearing the Gretzky 99 in 2019. Well, thanks a lot, Tom Hill. You've ruined that for me. So one record was set today. One record.
Trainioni has been talked about as, I mean, Musolowski is the one coming through that was touted as being like, you know, proper absolute class. This kid is being talked about as being potentially a superstar. You know, so they brought him in. I think did they bring him in from Stoke?
No, Leicester.
Someone in the chat, was it Leicester? Was it?
Yeah.
It's 300k market value. My arse.
Not anymore.
You know, not anymore. You know, he was born in 2007. Fucking hate life.
Yeah, well, where is that? Hold on a second. There was some good stats here. Ashley L's been here it is. Fun fact from Ashley L. Trainioni was born 4 days before Fernando Torres signed for Liverpool. So if you weren't feeling old just from the general aches and pains of your day-to-day life, there's one to make you feel
I'll give you another one. Trainioni is the first player born in 2007 to play for Liverpool. He was born over a month after the Champions League final against Milan of that year. Age 16 years, 243 days. He is the third youngest debutant in the club's history after Jerome Sinclair, Harvey Elliott, and he's next. You know,
well, if he can emulate the Harvey Elliott and not the Jerome Sinclair in there.
I tell you what, and it's interesting. Someone mentioned earlier, do you remember Jerome Sinclair? The structure that Alex Inglethorpe has put in place for the youngsters at this club is monumental. Ali McCoy's mentioned it in commentary. He's creating the atmosphere for them to become proper characters.
Well, I saved this one from right at the very start of the show. This is from like 45 minutes ago. Chris Hockley says, this is our class of 92, the first batch of kids to be taught from a young age the Klopp way, and seeing the chances these kids get will only spur on more to come through. Class of 24, this is it. And enough credit can be given to the decision. I don't know exactly if it was one person or a group that made it, but FSG gets a ton of credit for it, of consolidating the entire system in one location and having it so that those young kids, and I heard the story, I'm presuming it's true, is that the senior players play at the back so that the young kids get that exposure to the senior team, is that the unders aren't, sequestered off to the sides of, oh, you don't talk to them. You don't talk to them. It's creating this harmony amongst the whole club from the academy up.
Yeah, it's massive. It's all Klopp and Alex Inglethorpe. It's the two of them. It's a joint vision that the two of them have, that you have to become self-sufficient. If you're going to try to compete with petrostates, and cheating scumbags, then you have to be inventive in how you do it. And the best way to do it is DIY. Do it yourself. Bring through your own players. If you can bring through Chelsea made it was their financial model for a decade, supplemented by Abramovich. But in essence, their financial model,
like £100 million a year, supplemented by Abramovich. But yeah,
I know. But without the sales of homegrown players, they couldn't have done what they've done.
Yeah.
If we can do that without having to sell them all, we can develop them, bring them through, keep a couple, and I think it was an interview Klopp gave recently, and he said when a spot in the squad opens up and they think, okay, we might need to go into the market, the first thing they'll do is, have we got anyone in the club capable of stepping up? And they will look seriously at them. They won't just give it a nod and a wink and say, yeah, we've looked at the under 23s, there's no one there, give me 50 million.
Yeah.
They will trust the process. And all we can do as fans, do the same, trust the process. Nobody in their right mind thought that we would be seeing Bobby Clark this year. But I remember during the summer, an interview with his father, actually. And his father was being asked about a potential loan move for Bobby Clark. And he said, no, Jurgen has assured him that he's going to get minutes this season. And he trusts the people at Liverpool are guiding him in the right direction. And he gave an interview the other night on TalkSport where he was saying, yeah, I'm no longer Lee Clark, the ex-Newcastle and England player. I'm now Lee Clark, Bobby Clark's dad. That's who he is now.
Yeah, I love the setup there.
There's just stories everywhere.
I love the setup there, Kev. I'm going to try to get through some of Ashley's quotes that she's provided for us as graciously as she always does, because we are quickly approaching the hour mark, and I told Kev I wouldn't keep him for another 2 hours again tonight. Jayden Danns on his father. He said he was crying when I made my debut. I don't know what he is going to do now. Goes on to say, the second one was just pure joy. I didn't think it would come to me, and it's a dream come true. I've supported the club since birth. It doesn't feel real to score in front of the Kop. Well, you did it twice. Their manager, Southampton, forgot who we played again tonight. Uncle Veen Keller, their goalkeeper, made some incredible saves. Yeah, no kidding.
Yeah, he did. It's his job.
Where is it here? Klopp says we really needed Queeve to save us. Thankfully, he did. Jurgen Klopp goes on to say, incredible game. Southampton obviously is a top side. We all saw that. Our midfield press in the first half, the timing was not right. Joe Gomez played the 6 for the first time. We noticed. Klopp, I said before the game, Lewis is a fantastic finisher already, obviously talking about Kumas. We deserve to go through. It was a top performance, obviously, and we should not forget that Trey came on. What a player he is. I love the fact that his full name is actually Trey Maurice, which is very Maurice.
Yeah.
Like, there's a regular amount of Maurice, and then there's extra Maurice, which is Trey Maurice. Jurgen Klopp on Jayden Danns. Danny, we knew he was quite a good finisher. First is exceptional, but there's no difference to youth level. The ball is played. He's really calm. He knows what to do. Klopp, oh my God. The whole event was pretty special. We don't want to make it about us, but the situation is horribly difficult. We have too many games, not enough players. For some reason, there's a real positive mood around the dressing room and the training ground. We just accept the fact that we are obviously a little bit in trouble and we have to find solutions. Klopp goes on to say, we have a bunch of really good boys with a massive Liverpool heart and they love playing for the club. And I think that's pretty much just about it, except for I saved Ashley's best comment of the night, which is, this chat is the best kept football secret on YouTube. So yeah, tell your friends about it, because literally it is.
I agree with Red Steve. Ashley, world class.
Yes. Yeah. She makes my job being the host of these post-match shows so much better, going through and getting all these quotes for me. And I really, really, really do appreciate it. What else I would appreciate is if everybody that's in here watching tonight, got almost about 300 of y'all, please hit that little thumbs up button for us. If you're listening afterwards on a podcast download, it really does. Whether it's just knowing how many people are watching or whether you guys like it or not, if you're listening on a podcast download, rate and review the show. If there's something you'd like to see us do different or something new you'd like us to try, whether it's a member show or something like that, throw your suggestions in there. Gav will get, into reading them. Don't worry about it. These things don't just get lost. The channel's still small enough that we can actually respond to your guys' interactions. But again, €4 a month to become a member, the easiest thing you could possibly do. And it is so much fun. We're going to get back into the groove of things. I think Gav is finally maybe recovered from his weekend out with Emmett, the absolute basket case in Liverpool. Gav did quite well. I don't know if you saw his little guest appearance on the Anfield wrap, but
yeah, I did. I saw it last night.
Good.
Really good.
It was very good. But again, if the €4 a month, if that's not your thing, if you don't want to become a member, that's fine. But please help us out with our fundraisers. Again, that's the most important thing going. Or if you got an extra €4 a month, check out footballprizes.co.uk. They got a lovely Darwin Núñez prize that's going out currently. Limited number of tickets, tons of instant prizes. You can win just by buying a ticket without even winning the main prize. There's going to be some absolute bangers coming out towards the end of the season. I imagine we're going to get some League Cup winning stuff. You might even start to see some signed jerseys from some of these young kids whose names you never even heard of before. And who doesn't want a signed 98 Trey Naoni jersey? But everything's good so far in Liverpool. And Kev, we just keep moving forward and moving forward. We keep scoring goals. That's another clean sheet, which is good.
Yeah.
Which is good, because it had been 1-8 before this. So now it's 2 in a row. So let's forget about the 7 before that where we couldn't keep a clean sheet. And let's just focus on keeping clean sheets going forward. Who's your man of the match, Kev?
It's hard to look past Harvey Elliott, to be honest. I know ITV gave it to Trey Naoni because they wanted to talk to him. Oh, sorry, not Trey Naoni. They gave it to Jayden Danns. And it's like, look, he got 2 goals. Yeah, but I never give man of the match to subs. I just don't.
You haven't played long enough.
No, you haven't. I mean, I'll tell you one thing. His second goal, the fact that he was the one.
I was about to say we didn't even talk about the third goal, because Super Dizzle said love Bradley's strike for the third goal. We win the ball back from their throw-in deep, so that's twice in a week now that we've created a goal from the opposition team having a throw-in within a stone's throw of their own end line. And our forward press, fantastic. Mac Allister and Bobby Clark shut it down. Mac Allister puts a cross in. It's headed out. Connor Bradley, oof. If there's a moment that deserved to be a goal, it was that audacious. Yeah. It was Suarez-esque, that outside of the foot.
Outside of the foot, yeah. But he had the composure to take it. He had the composure to see that was the right finish. The keeper made a good save, but Danns was the one who was moving in the box. That's a forward instinct. Again, be moving, follow it in. You never know. And brilliant finish. Yeah. Shawnee Lawson there. Danns can be whatever he wants to be. He's got the size. He's going to have the physicality. You can just tell the way his body is going to blow out, as well as hopefully he might throw another inch on him. He'll get quicker just by natural evolution. As he gets older, he'll get quicker and sharper. You look at Dom Solanke now, right? You look at Dom Solanke when we signed him. He was England under 21 international. You could see he had the raw materials with there, but it's only now that you're seeing him flourish in a Bournemouth side where he is the main man. Jayden Danns could be anything. We don't know, but at the end of the day, he's got all of the tools and he's got the instinct of a striker. It's the hardest position to break through in at any club, especially an elite club. But he could be the future of this club going forward. He really could. He really could. Wouldn't argue with Sam Tandy giving a shout out to Bobby Clark. Wouldn't argue in too much at all. There was a few contenders, to be fair. I'd give it to Elliott purely and simply because of the layoff for the second goal. I just thought that was perfect. and his work rate and his energy, it just didn't drop. The fact that he's minutes after minutes after minutes in the last few games, he's always on the go. Ashley L. Kelleher, another outstanding performance for Grieve. Some vital saves at key moments. Distribution, fantastic. Another outstanding performance. But yeah, it's across the back. Gerald Kwanzaa, again, solid as the day is long, strong. Another one who's physically got yet to grow into his body. You don't see centre-backs develop and evolve into being proper centre-backs until they're 23, 24. The groundwork that he's doing this season is going to stand him in so much stead for the season, for his career. He's unbelievable. Yeah. I mean, I'm looking there, right? That's 50, 100, 160, 170, potentially 220, 230 million pounds worth of transfer fees saved just on 4 players. And I wouldn't include Kelleher in that. You know what I mean?
Who is also pure profit. Yeah.
That's massive transfer value saved, and we don't have to go out and invest and give to other clubs so that they can strengthen. This is money that we can reinvest when and where we need to in a targeted way. Jerry gives it to Connor Bradley. Yeah, I'll be honest. I thought first half he was a bit shaky. I thought Suleimani gave him a proper going over at times. He gave him a real tough half, but he developed and he evolved. He was much better in the second half.
Well, he started to come inside in the second half again, and this is the second or third time where playing as that orthodox fullback, he's been okay or good, but once he starts moving inside, he just shows for the ball. Like, he's got such great presence in the middle of the park to just know, like, the fear that a lot of people had about Trent moving into the middle is like, well, does he have that 360-degree vision? And I mean, Connor Bradley just seems to absolutely have it. I would give it to Harvey Elliott just simply because I didn't even think he'd be in the squad. I thought he would be with Luis Diaz or with Wataru Endo, like, feet up, you've earned your rest, go out there. You did, like, we've got this one. You just relax and recover. And he went again, third time in 8 days, he went again. He creates so much for us when it looks like we're going to struggle to create. So I absolutely love that. And then just before we go, McGlinchey pointing out that we've now swapped one derby for another on Paddy's weekend. It's going to be a wild one that weekend with the rugby on Saturday and hopefully people back-to-back slams on the line. So yeah, we've got Manchester United in the next round of the FA Cup, and it moves the Everton match. Is it the midweek before the final match of the season? Is that when the derby is now?
Potentially, unless a weekend frees up if we don't carry on in Europe, which ain't going to happen. So
yes.
It's
juicy.
I mean, it's hopefully you're looking at it that this is going to be the last weekend the last week of the season before the final game, and God knows what position Everton will be in by then, because even though they got 4 points back, they're facing another charge that will be heard next month. So we'll see how that one goes. But that's a conversation for another day for sure.
Yes, and another one for conversation for another day. Thor, the dyslexic polyglot, says Forest fans are kicking off because Chris Kavanagh gave the Casemiro goal. It looked like the Virgil goal that was ruled out in the Cup final. Let's see if Forest reffing consultant earns his money, which is hilarious because that's what Clattenburg, I believe. I didn't see it, Kev. Was it?
No, I didn't either. But apparently Clattenburg was sat up in the stand with Howard Webb for the entire game.
Oh, it's like a tit off between those.
You couldn't make it up.
Hopefully Clattenburg has gone bald so that he fits in with the rest of them. But thank you, everybody, for joining us. We've now gone over the hour when I told Kev that we absolutely would not do that. But I just have so much fun doing these shows. And it's mostly because of all the wonderful people that join us in the chat. Thank you, everybody, for joining us. Please hit that like button on the way out for us. Become a subscriber member if you have not already, because you are absolutely missing out on some real fun stuff live in real time, because the best way to enjoy the Talkin Kop is to be in the chat with us here. But most importantly, help us out with our 2024 fundraising partners. Help out Phil Casey with this fundraising partner. Go to footballprizes.co.uk. Get yourself something fun, maybe, if you're feeling a little bit lucky. But the most important thing is that Liverpool are through to the quarterfinals of the FA Cup. The march continues, Kev. We rest, we recover, we recuperate. I know a few people in the chat were asking what the status was of a few players for potentially coming back into the squad for Saturday. You're asking Kev and I, how the fuck would we know? Seriously.
I'll tell you what. We'll know what the story is by the training pictures that come out Thursday.
Exactly.
They'll recover tomorrow. You'll have players who weren't involved tonight will have a training session. You'll know. You'll get the noises coming out. And the thing is, they'll look at the Forest game. They'll analyse that. Klopp will put that aside. He thinks they're capable of beating Forest. That's what he'll do. All right. And then away to Prague next week, home to Man City. It's just it's nonstop. We'll see where we are.
That's the cost of success, Kev. When you're playing at the top end, you get game after game after game after. I guess also when you're playing in the championship, you get game after game. But that's not going to be our problem, is it? We're up at the mountaintop, not down in the lowest.
One thing on Brian's comment there, I don't know about Endo, but apparently Robertson was out tonight because he was ill. Yeah, it was just illness. So hopefully he'll be fine for the weekend. Yeah,
just had a case of the green apple splatters. It's nothing to worry about. He'll be right as rain, ready to go for the next one. So it's away to Forest on Saturday in a 3 o'clock, right?
Yeah, it's 3 o'clock kickoff.
Back-to-back 3 o'clocks. That's strange. Yeah. Or no. Yeah, back-to-back league 3 o'clocks on Saturdays, which is odd because we don't get a lot of those. But what we do get a lot of is wins at home at Anfield, because it's finished at Anfield. Liverpool 3, Southampton 0, on to face United in the next round. Thank you very much, Kev, for joining me tonight. Thank you, everybody in the chat, for joining me. We'll see you guys on Saturday. Adios.